Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Awaken Your Souls Journey podcast. I'm Angela, and so happy to have another guest for you today. And before I introduce her, I just want to remind you to subscribe. If you love these videos, it keeps everything for everyone to see. So that's awesome. And I want to introduce to you Lisa Espinoza. She is an author, a speaker, and she knows the deep pain of losing someone you love. With raw honesty, humor, and practical wisdom, Lisa offers hope for anyone walking through their own season of grief or loss. And on January 1st, 2019, Lisa's youngest son, Chandler, died as a result of a traumatic brain injury. She processed her grief in a daily blog. Sounds very similar to someone else I know. And at the end of the first year after losing Chandler, she decided to publish the blog as a book entitled First, Brush Your Teeth: Grief and Loss in Real Time. I love that. And her story is one of profound loss, even going back to the loss of her mother when she was 18 to lung cancer. But more importantly, it's a story of finding hope and even joy, one step, one day at a time. And sometimes that first step is just to brush your teeth, which I absolutely love because that really is it. That totally is it, especially in the beginning. So welcome to the podcast and thank you for being here today.
Thank you. It's really funny. I just had shoulder surgery like 4 weeks ago today, and it's been an emotional recovery because I'm not good at being immobilized. I don't like that, and there's a lot of pain with it.
Mm,
Um, and I found myself a couple of days ago just feeling so down, and I told myself, just brush your teeth, just brush your teeth. And it's just, I mean, crazy how that concept, just the simplicity of just do that one thing, just first brush your teeth. And then, and I'm thinking back now to losing Chandler, maybe if you had the energy to brush your teeth, then maybe you'll get to the closet and put on some clothes. And maybe if you get dressed, you'll go downstairs and maybe you'll have the energy to get yourself some coffee or something to eat and sit down on the couch. So it's just those little small steps because sometimes when you're in the middle of profound grief, that's all you can manage are the small steps, but the small steps matter.
yeah, and I think that's an important message that the small steps matter because for people, and I think I get the sense that you're the same. Like, I don't like sitting still. I really don't like having nothing productive
Mhm.
happening. And I've found myself in places where I've been really sick or hurting. And I struggle with that. And we think that it's not a big thing to get up and brush your teeth, but in those moments,
Mhm.
it's gigantic.
It's a box that you can check that says, I did something that is normal, something that is productive, something that I could categorize as self-care, something that says I showed up for myself, something that is moving me, propelling me forward a little bit. So maybe I can take that next small step. It's crucial, it's key, and it's one of those small victories to be celebrated. I just remember after losing Chandler, one of the things that I'd always do in the morning, before that, I would always have a smoothie, a spinach smoothie. And I know that sounds worse than the worst punishment, but it's wonderful. It's like almond milk or whatever kind of milk you want, a big old thing of spinach, frozen blueberries, half of a frozen banana, chia seeds, protein powder, any good stuff that you want to put in there. And you blend it up, and it does look like baby poop. But when you drink it, it's so yummy and good for you. After losing Chandler, I did not have the bandwidth to get myself in the kitchen and assemble all of the components of my spinach smoothie. And I remember I even wrote it, I blogged about it. It's in my book, the day that I made my first spinach smoothie. It was a big step for me. Again, those small steps matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and your book sounds really practical. I haven't read it yet, but it sounds like you've got some good practical advice in there. And coming from a mother who's lost her son, that's really profound stuff that you're going through. And so, what can a reader expect to see in your book?
Well, the kind of a clear picture of what you will get when you dig into it is just to know it's not a retrospective. It's not, here's what I think I'd like you to know about this was real time.
Mm,
This book is a compilation of my blog that I wrote and put out every single day. 300 and I think it was 380 days total. And at the end of that time, I published them. So when you turn to uh, day whatever, that like 3 months in, that's what that was. That's what day 60 or 80 felt like.
mm,
Mother's Day, that's what Mother's Day felt like the first time. And what I've heard from people who've read it is it gave them hope. It gave them a sense of that joy is possible. Just the idea of being open to joy. It can happen even when you've had the most profound loss and you can barely take a breath in the beginning. So, what the feedback that I've gotten and what my hope, my highest hope is that when people read First Brush Your Teeth, Grief and Hope in real time, is that they will see hope. They will see joy is possible. And it's practical in the sense that I talk about I'm having a brownie for breakfast. And I mean, that I'm hurting, I'm missing my son, I'm having brownies for breakfast. And that's just what I got to do today. It's just the practical workings of through grief for that first year. And I think it's a reliable, trustworthy companion for people who are walking through grief and loss.
yeah, absolutely. And to just get a little glimpse into what that looks like, because I know for me, grief doesn't have a timeline. There's no date where, you just magically feel better, even though that message is out there about how time heals all wounds. I have lots to say about that. But I know that if I had an idea of what things were like in that first month or in the sixth month or after a year, if I had an idea of how people moved through it, that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like specifically, I could say the first of everything, you're scared to death. You really don't know if you're going to like curl up in a ball and be unable to function. You're like, okay, his first birthday after his death, my first Mother's Day, our first Thanksgiving, leading up to all of them, you're scared to death. Or I will say, I was scared to death. And talking to other people who have had that kind of loss, they felt the same. And a wise friend of mine, Christine, who really came alongside me, she lost her daughter years before. And she said, what I found for me was the anticipation of the day was worse than the day itself.
Yeah.
And you can tell through the writing of the book and through each holiday that would come go by, that tended to be the case. And so I learned, okay, don't create a story in your head about what this holiday is going to be. As much as you can, just don't create a narrative about what it will be. Just move through the day and let it be what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't pre-grieve it.
Yeah. I very much found that too, that the actual day itself.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring up Mother's Day, and I can see why that would be really heartbreaking. Mother's Day surprised me because I lost my spouse. It wasn't a
Yeah.
child that I lost, but it hit me so hard. I think almost because I wasn't ready. I had gone through, Christmas and Easter and I just didn't think about Mother's Day being such a tough day. And it ended up being one of the worst that I had in
Yeah.
that experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange how things will hit you. Like just a smell. Like there's a particular smell that will come from out of nowhere. Um, well, when I had my surgery, my shoulder surgery that I had 4 weeks ago today, I remember some kind of a medical smell, and it took me back to the hospital with
Mm.
Chandler. And I mean, the smell is one of the most potent memory triggers. And I just was like, I got to get away from this smell. I mean, it's just, you never know that trigger, whether a certain holiday that you're like, why that particular holiday, or a smell, or a sight, or a saying. It's grief is just it's unpredictable. It's unpredictable and different for, it's a different shape for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, it'll be 4 years this fall for me. And I just find that those triggers get farther and farther apart. And I'm more surprised when something triggers me. I'm just like, whoa, where did that come from?
Because you expect it at first.
Yes.
And that it's, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. But let's talk more about because that's what all this whole podcast is about. How people have these tremendous losses and then somehow they move themselves through, and there's this transformation that takes place, and there's joy and there's fulfillment, which you wouldn't think is even possible at the beginning. But somehow people are able to move through some really awful things and still come out with this fulfilling life again. So tell us more about that journey.
I think first for me, I kind of tend to be a person who it's not hard for me to find the thing today to be grateful for in general. So I think the sense of gratitude that I had, not for losing Chandler, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but for the ways that our family came together, for the way that our community came together, our friends, like people showed up for us. We showed up for each other. The ways that I saw how my son was and who my son was, the ways that I didn't even know. Because they're your kid, they do stuff and say stuff away from you that you don't even know. And I just gained this appreciation for him as a really old, wise soul, while also in the body of a crazy 25-year-old who, you know, did flips on his bike upside down on purpose, and golfed and hiked and danced and all the fun things. But this old spiritual soul, as I read through his diary that he wrote when he went to India for like, he was gone for 2 months, a few years before he died. I read it and thought, why didn't I know that, Chandler? I knew some of it, but oh my gosh. And that just the gratitude over knowing that about him. I was already a person that tends to be grateful, but that just compounded it. And I think I wanted to live my life in a way that honors who Chandler is, who he was. I hate saying was.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Still hard to say that. And so for me, sort of this, I don't know if I would call it a soul transformation, but part of my formation has been to live life like Chandler, in the sense that he was truly present, not judgmental, and just enjoyed his life. Um, if he was biking, he was biking. If he was hiking, he was hiking. And then to hear his friends say he was there for me when nobody else was. I didn't know that because he'd come home telling me, hey, I was there for my friend. And that inspired me too. I have a ring that says WWCD. What would Chandler do?
Mm-hmm.
That a friend of mine, after one of my blogs where I wrote, I keep making choices that say, okay, what would Chandler do? Or what would honor Chandler? I'm sorry, what would honor Chandler? WWHC, what would honor Chandler? So that's all part of my soul formation, is how do I keep honoring this amazing human being that I was privileged to be a mother to for 25 years? How can I just continue to honor his life? And I hope I'm doing that. I think I'm doing that.
Absolutely, you are. Yeah. And it's so cool that because I mean, at first you look back with sadness on those memories and all of the times you spent together, and then there's something that switches, and it switches with gratitude. I know it does. I know that's a key piece. And when you start looking back with gratitude on what was and what you were able to grow through with them. And, when you use the word was, I don't like that either, just because I feel like Blaine is still here. And so, in essence, he's following me around. He's seeing what I'm doing. Sometimes he intervenes. I feel like sometimes he's right here helping me. And so, saying was just kind of like puts it into the past, which I think it's ongoing. It feels to me like it's ongoing.
I feel I'm going to try to sound smarter than I am. And this is because matter, like physical matter, doesn't just disappear.
Mm,
It be in different forms, but or energy. I'm sorry, energy. Energy doesn't disappear. We're made of everything's made of some kind of energy. We just are. That's science. And that, from what I understand, energy doesn't just cease to exist. It can change forms, can be different, but it doesn't cease to exist. I don't believe that when our body stops having the energy of a physical body on this planet, that our consciousness no longer exists. I just don't believe that for myself. And I believe that Chandler is still exists,
mhm,
but not in the, I wish he existed in the body that I could hug and kiss and watch him do all of his crazy I wish that's still how he existed, but I believe he still exists.
mhm. Absolutely. Well put. Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of hope for people in that. And I think everybody has to feel into their own truth. You have to see what feels right for you. But
Yeah.
I really resonate with what you just said because I feel the same way. I feel him. He's here. So
Yeah. I agree. And nobody takes science lessons from me, please. Nobody I said and go write a science essay on it, because Lord knows I'm not the person to get you on that. But that's what I believe for me.
yeah, yeah. And I know that science is proving a lot of this. And I mean, energy cannot be destroyed, right? They say that again and again. So it's fascinating. Yeah.
Beyond the science, I mean, beyond science, there's this consciousness that's the part of us that you can't touch, you can't feel, you can't quantify a consciousness. And that feeling that they're with us still, it's kind of beyond comprehension. And so
Mhm.
I don't feel like I have to understand everything. I don't feel like I have to know all the answers, be able to quantify it all and justify it all. Maybe that's what happens when you get old, but I just don't think, I'm not so much interested in that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that gets back into just feeling what's right for you and what's true for you, and that's awesome. So what were some of the things that really helped you in your grief? If you were somebody giving advice right now, what would you tell them beyond get up and brush your teeth?
Yes. I would say, first of all, feel what you need to feel when you need to feel it. And I'll say, from the when I lost my mom and I was 18, she had lung cancer, and I did all the things that set you up for a really bad breakdown, which I didn't have a full on, but it was close. My husband had to really prop me up for a long time. I didn't cry at her funeral. I didn't cry at all for weeks. I minimized it. Oh, she's in heaven now. It's just a body. Her body, it was just a body. She's in heaven now, and I put her makeup on her in her casket. I mean, that was all part of just compartmentalizing, denying, minimizing, all not healthy coping mechanisms for losing your mother. that you love dearly. So through that, all these years later, one of the main things that I had learned through the years is feel what you feel. If you feel mad, feel mad. If you feel just distraught, then feel distraught. Whatever it is that you feel, go ahead and feel it when you need to feel it. Um, and don't have it dictated to you by somebody that, well, it's been 6 months. Why are you still crying? Or it's been a year. Why are you still mad? Or whatever. The emotions that you have are not bad or good. They're just feelings, they're information for you. Feel what you need to feel when you need to feel it. Second, I would say let people help you. It's so easy to want to isolate. You don't really want to be around people. You certainly don't want to be around people that are all bubbly and happy and doing you just don't feel like it. But let people in. Let people help. They truly want to. And in you allowing them to help you, you're really blessing them. I remember a friend, it was probably a couple weeks after Chandler's death, and a friend of mine said, Can I bring you a smoothie? And I'm like, I would love it if you would bring me a smoothie. So she came over and she said, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know the words to say. And I said, that's about the best thing you can say to me right now. It
Mm.
really is. And because I said, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say right now. But it blessed her and it blessed me because I said, yes, I'm going to let somebody in. I'm not going to isolate. So let people in, let them help you. And a third thing, I mean, there's many, many things that I could say, but one of the main encouragements I would give, just let yourself be open to the possibility of joy. You don't have to say, yeah, I want to feel joy right now. I want to just be, you may not be even in a place where you can take a really good deep breath right now, but just maybe say to yourself, I'm open to the possibility of joy again when it comes my way.
Mhm. I love that. Yeah, because that was one of the things that I wondered about when I
Mm-hmm.
first lost Blaine is that would I ever actually feel that genuine happiness again? I mean, there were moments that should be happy. My grandson was born, and there was this cloud of sadness at the same time because I was missing my husband, and I wanted that pure joy without the sadness. And I wondered if I would ever feel that again. And so I tell people, yes, you will. You will. Totally, you can. Yeah.
And on that, I want to say, if you're fresh on a loss, you're just hurting, and you're in a situation like a grandchild being born, or something like that would typically be, oh my goodness, I'm so full of joy. Do not should yourself into feeling bad because, well, why am I not? Why do I still feel this cloud over my head? I should just be grateful and overjoyed that this grandbaby is born, or that this family member had a birthday, or whatever thing that would normally bring great unadulterated joy. Don't put more on yourself by going, well, I should.
Mhm.
Why don't just let it be? Just let it be without judgment, and just be open to the possibility that at some point unadulterated joy may come back into your life. Just be open to it.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. And that's exactly what I needed to hear. It was a friend of mine who said to me, you must be so excited about your new grandson, but it must be so hard at the same time. And when she said that, uh, it acknowledged it. It just told me that, somebody understood. It made
Yes.
sense, right? And it wasn't that, oh, you must be so excited. How do you like your retirement? I was getting those questions like, how do you like your retirement? Well, yeah, I guess it's good. I don't know. It's like,
I'd like it better if
yeah.
my husband was here. Yeah. I mean, I make no bones about I'm grateful and I've learned so much, and I've grown, my soul has grown, all these things. But you give me a choice to have my son back in a heartbeat, yes.
Yeah.
It is crappy that I lost my son. It is crappy that you lost your husband. It's just crappy. I could say other things, but I'll just say crappy. It's just it's gut wrenching. It's hard. It's I mean, it's just the hardest thing to move through grief. Um, there's hard emotions with it. It's hard physical work to grieve. So I don't want to paint the picture that I'm just grateful and my soul has grown so much. And yeah, two things can be true at once. And I can tell you in one breath, I hate that I lost my son. And it's just the worst thing. And I'm grateful for the years I had with him. I'm grateful for what I've learned through losing him. I'm grateful for the opportunity to come alongside other people and hopefully be of some help to them. So, two things can be true at once. You can hate that it happened, and you can also be grateful for some of the things that have come after.
Yes, both are true. I like that. So, tell us more about how people can. I mean, obviously, you have a lot of wisdom to share and you've got your book. Tell people how they can find that and find you.
Yeah, so I'm just lisaespinoza.com. I have a website, Lisa at Lisa Espinoza. That lisaespinoza.com. I'm getting mixed up with email. Lisaespinoza.com is my website. And I do keynote addresses too. That's kind of my background is public speaking. So I consider it a privilege to come and share with groups that are, dealing with loss of any kind. Um, and obviously I'm a writer. Any way that I can come alongside people and use the pain that I've gone through to help somebody else in their pain, it's truly a privilege and I don't take it for granted.
Mm, beautiful. Yeah. So people can go to your website, and I assume there's a
Find my
link there to find your book.
Yep. There's a link and it's on Amazon. First Brush Your Teeth, Grief and Hope in Real Time. And not ironically, but years ago, I wrote a book called Days of Whine and Noses Pep Talks for Tuckered Out Moms. And it's stories about all my kids, and it's really bite sized chapters about the significance of motherhood. The chapters are like on potty training, on snotty noses, on sex after kids. Like there's all kinds of bite sized chapters and all these little stories about Chandler. And and I just think, who knew that all these years later, I would have a book published about losing that little guy. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
think writing is a way that I connect with people wherever I'm at in my life season of life and just try to bring some encouragement, some inspiration, some laughter and joy. And again, I just consider it a privilege.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And yeah, we share that joy of writing our thoughts down and sharing that with others. I find the journey of writing, even without sharing, very healing in itself. And then thinking that it might help someone else along the way is just really icing on the cake for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The blogging was my way of, well, first keeping people abreast on how Chandler was doing. And then once we lost him, I found out he wanted to be a writer. And
Mm,
I'm like, I am going to write every single day as an honor to him wanting to be a writer, as a way to process my own grief. And what I found through the process was people telling me, you gave voice to something that I didn't know how to say in my grief. And like you said, that's icing on the cake. It's a point of redemptive light, as I say.
yeah, beautiful. Yeah, how amazing. And that story about how he wanted to be a writer, and so you're writing, that really resonates with me because Blaine always wanted to hear other people's stories. He was always visiting with strangers, he was always asking them questions about their lives. And I find myself in that space. And there's something
Wow.
really healing about that too. Yeah.
And honoring to him, just
Mhm.
honoring who he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
So it's really cool in that way. So, any last parting words or advice before we go?
Well, anybody that's going through some tough times right now that you've lost something, it could be health, it could be a relationship. It could be a pet that now you don't even know what you're going to do tomorrow because your sweet dog is not going to get up and walk with you. It could be a loved one, whatever it is that you are experiencing loss around. I just want to encourage you, don't stop. Get up tomorrow and just first brush your teeth. Put one foot in front of the other. Show up for yourself.
Hmm, love that. Thank you so much again for sharing today and for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Angela.
Yeah. And thanks everyone for watching, and bye for now.